Hi. So, I don't feel like singing last few days, and Halloween's over. So, one thing I'd like to do is talk about the 2016 presidential election. Um, Unless you've been under a rock for the last 2 years, it's been all over social media and the news, and right now in America, there's a lot of panic and anger, and protests are going on as of last night in major cities like New York and Chicago and Detroit. And anyhow, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about how I feel about these things, and it's been on my mind as well. I have ADD, so I have a cheat sheet I intend to use because I get distracted and I will ramble on. Um, Speaking of rambling on, this video is called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen. So if you'd like me to shut the fuck up, all you gotta do is press that little button right there and I'll go away. In the meantime, I'm going to first attack social media and Facebook, which is my main source of social media that I use. Um, what I've done lately is observe both the liberal and democratic side that I'm on and the Republican side of people who are Trump supporters. And I've been trying to observe it all. And I have one thing to say right now. This is a very charged climate, and there's a lot of hurt people out there in the Democratic and liberal communities. And if you're a Trump supporter and your friends are posting their grievances and they're visibly upset and you don't agree with what they're saying, just scroll on. Scroll on. You actually don't have to comment. Don't be, as Mr. Trump would say, braggadocious. You don't gotta be braggadocious. You really don't. You can just scroll on by. It's super, super, super easy. Um, some of my Trump supporter friends I have, and I do have them, have come at me with like, "What's the big deal? You're all a bunch of crybabies. Grow up." Well, no, this was a big deal for a lot of us. So if you don't have anything supportive, or if you're not going to give us some sort of condolence, just scroll on by. It would save a whole lot of heartache right now. We're already divided enough as it is. All right. So there's that. Um, I'd also like to say not all Trump supporters are bad people. I know, liberals are cringing right now, but it's true. Believe it or not, in our society, we have extreme left and extreme right. Most people are kind of in the middle. Okay, most of us are in this little middle ground. Um, this middle ground of people, the system has failed the working class. We're the working class. Okay, it's divided us. Nobody's trusted politicians for years, and that matters. And there's a damn good reason for it. But especially today, we've lost complete and utter faith in the system. In the system, there are lobbyists, big money funding for major corporations. Uh, the people have been lied to, ignored, taken advantage of. They're sick of it. Hillary Clinton is the system, or at least a part of the system. I get it. She's a career politician. People hate that right now. And let's just put aside Benghazi and the emails, the fucking emails. I'm so sick of the emails. Just, all right. Everything we've heard about her, most people, and the reason she failed is because they didn't relate to her. They didn't believe her. They feel she's a liar, and she's the system. I get it. I really, really do. All right. That's why Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump resonated with so many people from the get go. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, 100%. He was robbed by the Clinton campaign. He was. Whether it was Hillary or we're not going to mention the other one because I'm not going to get into that. In the end, we were left with Hillary or Donald. People didn't like that. So some people went Jill Stein, some people went Gary Johnson. In the end, we Democratic liberal people had to kind of choose where we wanted to go. The Trump people didn't have to do that. They already knew who they wanted. All right. So most of us progressives that were searching for a better future or, more environmentally friendly as far as our mindset goes, wanted more affordable colleges and education. Like all of us had to choose between something. I chose Hillary. I did. I felt the Trump threat was too big. I do not, I'm not angry at anybody who voted Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. I understand why you did. In fact, in a more perfect world, there would be more than two parties. This particular situation, I didn't think I wanted to go that route. If you did, more power to you. If you voted by your conscience, that's what happened. Um, that's what happened. However, let's talk about Trump real quick. Hillary was very flawed, but Trump had a rap sheet from hell. Okay, and he's still involved with scandals. And through his campaign, we've heard words thrown around like misogyny and bigot and xenophobe and homophobe, and there's a good reason for that. Okay, there's a really good reason for that. This man is our president. Let's take one of those words, misogynist. Okay, women. I get you. I truly get you. I consider myself a feminist. And my niece right now has to look at a president. My niece, who was upset by this, by the way, when she found out, um, Mr. Grab him by the pussy is her president. That pisses me off to no end. Where do you go from there? How do you even explain that to a young woman? Okay. The sexual assault hotlines blew up after he became president because of women who were victims through sexual assault. Because let's face it, grab them by the pussy is a sexual assault. Okay. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. 99.9% of the people I'm closest to are women. And I know what they say, the gays and the gals. We've been together since the beginning, like PB and J. We just good together. But you know what? The men who commented on this, the straight men, who were like, as a brother, as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, I cannot condone these words. The Republicans, basically, before they pulled out. Dude, how about just being a person? There's decency. Don't use the fact that you're related to a woman in some family way to excuse what he did and what he's about, because that is what he's actually about. I don't care if it was 10 years ago, that's who he is. A president has to have some sort of moral fiber. He has to be an example for people. We got grab him by the pussy as a president right now. True story. All right. When it comes to the immigrant threat from the Trump presidency, when it involves Hispanics, Muslims, I can't say a whole lot about that because I don't know that experience. I know what I feel is wrong, but I can't understand their fear right now. So what I can do in these situations is just shut the fuck up and listen. Let somebody tell their story. Let somebody tell you why they're afraid. That's actually important. People from the Black Lives Matter movement, this election has been extremely racially motivated. Again, all I can do is shut the fuck up and listen, because I don't know that experience. As a cisgendered white gay male, I do not know what it's like to live in those shoes. All I can do is hear your story and listen, and hopefully learn and keep an open mind, open heart, open ears, and just try to understand where you're coming from and grow with you. That's the truth. A question I've been asked a lot is, why do I, as a liberal, allow Trump supporters as friends on Facebook and whatnot? This comes down to freedom of speech. Number one, freedom of speech, and also everybody's freedom to vote the way they want. I don't have to like how you vote or agree with it, but I'm not going to unfriend somebody just because they don't vote the way I want to. That would make me no better than people that don't like me because I'm not like them. Again, you got to kind of keep an open mind. If you're a Trump supporter who is a bigot, which we'll get into later, then we'll get into that later. Anyway, so straight folks have approached me as a gay man. We're going to talk about LGBT stuff now. Nothing's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Why are you guys so scared? So here I go. All right. And this is where I got to kind of look at my notes a little bit. Um, do I think Trump is this homophobic Hitler type of personality? No, I don't. Trump's a mercenary. He's an opportunist. He's a businessman of low moral fiber. He works whatever angle he can to achieve the final product, but no, I don't really think he is the person he says he is. In fact, I think it's all an act. Mike Pence, however, is the real scary motherfucker here. All right. Um, his entire if you want to actually focus on his political career, Mike Pence has dedicated his life to a right-wing anti-LGBT agenda. He even tried to include that in the campaign this year. All right. Marriage equality is not just what's at stake here with the LGBT community. There's unemployment discrimination. There's trans rights. The trans suicide hotline alone has received more calls yesterday than it has in the entire duration of it being opened up. Excuse me. Republicans now run the Senate. It's the truth. It's a very real fear for us. All branches of government, legislative, executive, judiciary, they're all Republican now. Most of what Trump tries to pass, unlike Obama, who's a Democrat, the Republican Senate, which has always been there, or has been there for years, is going to approve everything he wants. That scares the shit out of us. That's why we're bitching. Okay? Besides marriage equality being overturned, you know, it's a scary thought, but it's actually, on a positive note, it's a little bit harder to do than you would expect. Let's just pretend for 5 seconds Kim Davis causes some shit and rears her nasty ass up again. She would have to go through a lower court judge first, and then he would have to find a way to get around the Supreme Court ruling, which is the law of the land, and it would have to go up through, lower superior courts, district courts, federal courts, until it actually reached the Supreme Court, and then those guys have to decide if they even want to hear it in the first place. There's a huge process in all of this. It's not as easy to do. So it's a threat, but it's not an immediate threat. However, the Supreme Court is comprised of a lot of older judges, and when they're appointed by the president, they are there for life. You can retire out of it or you can die, and that's how you get out of being a Supreme Court judge. So they're all older and they don't have a lot of time left. So the fear is that once they're gone, they're going to be replaced by more conservative Republican, judges. And yes, marriage equality can be overthrown. This may take years, but it can be overthrown. And the biggest problem with a Supreme Court judge being appointed is that they're there for life, which means they're there for your life too. This is a lifetime kind of thing. Anyhow, I'll get into the electoral college and everything because I'm running out of time here, but some other time. Anyhow, one message I want to say: things are crazy right now. People are upset. I implore you, in the weeks to come, not to finger wave, not to judge, not to point fingers at who did what to you. Like, we're divided, and a lot of us actually have the same values. So just try to listen to somebody else and hear them out and hear why they voted the way they did. You might actually learn something. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. I am too. But there are important things to focus on right now, which is just getting by as a society. And this is way, way, way too ugly. My last thing I want to say, which is ugly, is if you were a Trump supporter who is a Confederate flag waving, racist, bigot, 2 words, fuck you. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about it anymore because it's like talking to a brick wall. This is my country too. I come from immigrants just like you do. And we have to stick together. And if you aren't a part of the system, you don't have a place here. Leaving at that. Good night, and I love you guys. Take care and be responsible.